Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks everyone for tuning in this evening. We are back with another banger, and we have some of the greatest men that you will see in the Midwest on the screen with me this evening. And I have Post Game of Post Game Sports joining me this evening, making a 614 bending air as it always do. How are you doing this evening, Post Game?
Man, I'm doing great, man, and I'm really excited to be on with y'all this evening, man. I love football, I love talking football, and it can't get here fast enough.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we also have Brother Blondie. We call him the Sports Almanac. We call him Jam. We call him Mr. Encyclopedia. And when I say the glasses is so cool, be careful, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know if he got on metas. You don't know if he peeping you out as far as in just making sure you in the right mindset. But what, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Jimmy Jam as we call him. How's it going this evening?
It's going very good, my brother. Once again, thanks for having me on. And before we get to the topic at hand,
Yes, sir.
uh, today is July 29th. That means, as a NFC East guru and a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, I have no choice but to say happy 33rd birthday to Dallas Cowboys All Pro quarterback and the franchise all time leading passer, Rain Dakota Prescott.
Ooh, man. Shout out to Mr. Rain Dakota Prescott. And when I say that's why we call you the sports almanac, because I'm thinking you going and talking about Aikman or one of those guys, but greatly appreciate you and what all you do and bringing those gems to the stream. And we appreciate you tuning in this evening at Cam. How you doing this evening? 7954. We appreciate everyone tuning in this evening as we are back, like I said, with another banger. And we talking about the AFC East. And, when we come in and we do these things, the 614 Ben has became what it is because of the guys you see to the right, to the bottom of these screens surrounding as Unc will come in with his comments as well as everybody tuning in. We talking to AFC East. And the first team that we're going to talk about in this AFC East. But before we get to that, gentlemen, any thoughts before we talk about this AFC East? And we're going to go from the Dolphins to the Jets to the Bills and to those New England Patriots who won that crown last year. Any thoughts about this division? There's been a lot going on in the offseason. So anything, and I'm going to go to you first post game. Any thoughts on this AFC East before we dibble and dabble and skedaddle into this division?
Well, it's going to be an interesting division for sure. There's been a lot of turnover, especially with the Dolphins. Losing Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle is out of the division and went to Denver Broncos. Can the New England Patriots repeat their success of last year? They get the big addition at wide receiver with AJ Brown. Very interesting team. And then the Buffalo Bills losing their head coach or firing their head coach and promoting their offensive coordinator. What type of team will they be? Will they continue their success? Can they finally get over that hump and get to a Super Bowl? So I'm really excited to talk about this here, AFC East.
I'm gonna come right to you next, Jam, on that, and some of the same thoughts as me is what you said, Post. What's your thoughts on this AFC East before we dibble and dabble into it, Jam?
Look, AFC East is whack. It's going to be the Patriots and the Bills in the playoffs. Uh, uh, Miami, Quinn Ewers. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if next year the Dolphins gets first pick of the draft and they pick Arch Manning to see him and Quinn Ewers fight for a starting spot. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
Man, that's some good thoughts on this AFC East, and I'm with you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing some battles, at both positions. I know we've seen some great glimpses of viewers last season. I know they have Malik Willis coming over, and we talking about this Dolphins team. But like you said, post on this Bills team, firing the head coach, bringing in the wide receiver and DJ Moore. This Bills team, I was thinking, can they break this curse? Watching the NFL and the history of the NFL and this AFC, we know when New England start to win a division, how ugly it could be for others and to try to get it back for themselves. But this might be the year that I think Buffalo has to do it now instead of later, because that curse could be a real thing. But the first team we have up to talk about when we start on this AFC East is the Dolphins. And when you think of the Dolphins, you think of no Tyreek Hill. He's not getting no calls. He's coming back from the injury. They've made a ton of moves. No Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, you name it. Jalen Waddle's gone. Darren Waller's gone. If you think about this Miami Dolphins team, it's a team that you wonder. The rebuild is real, but the rebuild and some of the pieces that they have, can it be a faster rebuild? Can it be a team that steps up in the AFC East? Can they shock the East? What's your thoughts? And I'm going to come to you, Jim, because it looked like you got something for us. When you talk about this Miami Dolphins team in this AFC East, they've made quite a few changes, and it's been a boatload of changes. But some of the pieces that they've brought in and through the draft, I think could be formidable and make a lot of great things to come in the future. What's your thoughts? Go ahead.
Me?
Jim. Yep, I'm coming to you.
Okay. Yeah, the Dolphins made some, good picks. They picked Malik Willis. He showed major improvement at Green Bay when he. I don't know why he couldn't do what he did in a Tennessee Titans uniform, but Malik Willis going to the Dolphins. It's a pretty good pick. But the problem is, I know Malik Willis ain't going to give the Dolphins a full 17 games. At some point, we are going to see Quinn Ewers in there for relief. They got rid of Tyreek Hill. He was troubled, and trading Jalen Waddle to the Broncos, that was stupid. You giving Bo Nix a gift. I think they made some mistakes on this one, and I don't care how talented or picks the Miami Dolphins got, or Malik Willis played in Green Bay backing up. The bottom line is the Dolphins can't win in cold weather, and their last game on the schedule is at New England. If they can't beat the Patriots to win the division, it's a wrap. If it boils down to New England and Buffalo, they need they need one team to win, and Miami to win or lose. We know Miami just can't win in cold weather. I don't see them winning at Buffalo or New York, and they're going to miss the playoffs once again, man.
Now, for before we come to you, Post, and I'm gonna give you this to think about as well as yourself, Jam. When you think of a Jacob Rodriguez coming in the draft, you think of a Caden Proctor, and when you think of these two names, you think of all Americans. You think of a great, a bright future, instant additions, to this franchise. And I think, when you lose the players that you've lost in a Bradley Chubb, and not to forget about Chris Johnson. You bring this young core in, you linebacker, cornerback, and then you get on the offensive side of the ball. So for me, I think this Miami team is rolling in a right way. You get Tutu Atwell, you get Jalen Tolbert, you get receivers and those are Tolbert, I believe, coming from Carolina. I believe two of course coming from the Rams. I think those pieces to surround Malik Willis with, who's only had 6 career starts. We can't forget the fact that Malik Willis is just getting his wagon going, and if he can turn into, if he can triple what he did in Green Bay, let's just think of this: 2-1, that's 6-3. 6-3 in this division is a great start for any QB in this division. And we've seen what May did, led his team to the promised land. So just think of some of these things that can happen in this division. And what's your thoughts on this Dolphins team, Post? Some good talk with this AFC East so far to start.
I don't think about Miami much, but I mean, they get Malik Willis at quarterback. I think that he's maybe a good bridge guy to their next quarterback of the future. Maybe he can solidify and be that franchise quarterback. We don't know that yet, but they damn sure didn't do him any favors at the wide receiver position because the wide receiver depth is pitiful. I mean, even drafting Chris Bell, who I think has a lot of talent, he's starting the season off on the pup list. So good grief, who's the man going to throw the damn ball to? Reports out of camp has been that Greg Dulcich at tight end has been his favorite target, and they built a lot of camaraderie together. So that'll be interesting to watch. The offensive line, they draft big Caden Proctor. He's going to be a building block for that offensive line for years to come. The defense, my goodness, I can see them getting shredded all season long. If I had to pick a team to finish last in this division, for me, it's got to be the Miami Dolphins.
Man, totally agree, man. Totally agree. Tough division to be in, and the rebuild at this point and to get those guys in. It's good to have them, but you got to have some depth at that wide receiver position. We see what the wide receiver position is. And it makes me think of, when you think of the AFC East, you just get DJ Moore and Brown in the division. Not to mention in the AFC as a whole, what you have at the wide receiver position. So I think Miami definitely has some work to do this year and the years to come at that wide receiver position. The next team that we have up is the New York Jets. And this also a team that made quite a bit of changes in the offseason, not getting rid of just one quarterback, but getting rid of 2 quarterbacks, making some moves at the edge, making moves at the guards, getting a hell of a draft class that came in. That's one thing I can say. This New York team got a hell of a draft class that came in. And I think this is probably one of the scariest teams, I would say, in this AFC East for me, because you don't know what you're going to get out of this New York Jets team and the additions that you get. You get some veteran leadership. You get Super Bowl leadership. But when you get veterans mixed in with that draft class coming in, I think you get a built hunger to be great in this division and try to do something that no one sees. So for me, I like the New York Jets. Of course, being that third, who knows? They could pop up at second, or they could be that scary team and win this division. You just don't know. What's your thoughts? And I'm going to come to you, Post, when you think about the fact that they got a David Bailey, they get a Kenyon Sadiq, they get Amar Cooper Jr., they get D'Angelo Pons. You think in the national championship experience on a college level, but when you bring that hunger to the NFL mixed with this veteran leadership, a lot of championships, a lot of things going on with this defense, as well as not to forget about Geno Smith, a Tavondre Sweat. What's your thoughts on this New York Jets team coming into this 2026 season?
I actually like what the Jets have been doing in the offseason. Now, the question is at quarterback, they get Geno Smith. Are we going to get the Geno Smith who played for Seattle, who famously said, they wrote me off, but I didn't write back? Or are we going to get the Geno Smith who played for the Vegas Raiders, who had a terrible season? That's the question to be asked, because I feel like if Geno is the Geno for the Seattle Seahawks, I think the Jets are not going to finish last in this division. I love the offseason additions. I mean, it starts with the offensive line. They've been retooling and rebuilding that O line. I think it's going to be solid this year. Their running game, I think, is going to be really good with Brees Hall and those guys. Getting Kenyon Sadiq at tight end. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be healthy to start the season, but when you get a tight end like that who runs in the 4.39s, he's going to be a matchup nightmare for a lot of linebackers and safeties, bro, going down the middle of that field or however they choose to use him. He's just an athletic freak. I think they got better on the defensive side of the ball. You mentioned David Bailey rushing the quarterback. I love the pick of D'Angelo Pons in that nickel position. I think the New York Jets, they will have multiple interceptions this season, but I don't think they finish last in the AFC East.
I agree. And I'm glad you mentioned that, a team that had 0 interceptions, man. And just to think about that real quick before we come to you, Jam, 0 interceptions in a complete NFL season is insane. That's diabolical to a franchise. I think Pons, I think Minka, I think they instantly changed that right away. I'm thinking the first week, I think the first 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about this Jets team and the way they're turning the ball over. And you think about Jets in the secondary, you think of Revis and Revis Island. I think we about to see flashes of that as a whole unit, not just one player, from this New York Jets defense with the additions that they've made in that secondary this season, as well as having Pons as that rookie and Minka Fitzpatrick at that safety position. And I think it'll be a rebirth. If those that play 2K, they know what I'm talking about. When you get that rebirth already badged up, ready to do work, I think he's going to come with that and more. What's your thoughts on this Jets team, Jam, as we come over to you?
I disagree with both of y'all. I guarantee you, I'm going to see the Las Vegas Raiders version of Geno Smith. I think him being traded from Seattle and the quarterback that replaced him went to the Super Bowl, not only won the chip, but defeated the Patriots, who Geno Smith's going to have to face twice. I mean, I don't think he's going to be mentally ready. I see no motivation, and I'm sure maybe the Jets will have a couple interceptions, but what makes it look bad about the Jets going a whole 2025 season without an interception is that the New York Jets head coach Aaron Glenn, may I remind you, he has 41 career interceptions. And you mean to tell me his defense couldn't pick off an interception? And may I might add, last season, for at least half of the season, the Jets had Sauce Gardner, an all-pro cornerback. He's supposed to be one of the best top corners, and you mean to tell me he couldn't pick off one interception? Come on. Offenses didn't throw that much to Revis Island, but Revis did at least get a pick or two. For that team to not even have one interception. Oh, and let me add to the mix, JoJo. They only recovered 4 fumbles. So you know, can they recover a loose ball? Can they beat a Miami Dolphins in Miami, which I think that will probably be Geno's best game as a quarterback for the Jets. And you know, to those who got the draft picks, and you know, big time college players, and you on TV every week, people has to remember, New York media is different from every other media. Even though the Jets is poor, poor. You know, as a franchise, I I mean, I hope Geno Smith does good, but can he at least have a one season of a Joe Namath? If not Joe Namath, can he give me a Richard Todd, Ken O'Brien, uh, Testaverde, uh, Pennington, Sanchez? Uh, I mean, those are the only Jets quarterbacks that I know that ever made the playoffs, and uh, we'll we'll see what Geno did, and also keep in mind Geno wasn't great as a Jet the first time around, uh, and we'll see if he's more mature, where a Jets defensive lineman doesn't hit him in the jaw this time.
I think for me, when I think about this Jets team, I think of the veteran leadership. You get a little bit of veteran leadership, and you get a young, like I said, a young, hungry lion in these players that you add into it. They all coming in had opportunity to win a national championship. They've all won conference championships in their conference at that college level. And I think those are big things when you come into the NFL, when you can have an impact on changing a franchise. When you mix those players in, you think about Joseph Assad, former Cincinnati Bengal, the position that he's playing at that defensive tackle, at that edge. And I think, like you said, having a David Bailey, having a Minka Fitzpatrick, having a Demario Davis, having that Tafondre Sweat, that's the player I think for this New York Jets team can really take this defense to another level. Can he make himself, you know, a rebirth as well? That's what I'm looking for. Some of these players, Geno Smith, I think his coming out party coming back to New York will be totally different. I think he comes in with a chip on his shoulder. He could have been that guy playing in this Super Bowl, if you think about it, without some of these moves being made. Geno Smith was just throwing for 3,500 plus. So we can't forget that. And now you put him with a team where he could definitely make it his own, being that leader. He have a little bit of ammo coming against some of these teams that they'll be playing with, I think, in this division. I like the New York team. I think they're going to definitely raise some eyebrows. And like you said, handing the ball off to Brees Hall, people forget about how great of a running back he's been since he's been in his Jets uniform. Anything else from you, Post?
So what part of what I broke down did you disagree with, Jam?
Well, I definitely disagree. Uh, Geno Smith. I don't think Geno Smith is going to have a great year in East Rutherford. Uh, I think he's going to get hurt at some point. Because keep in mind, AFC East is tough, and I get it. The Jets had uh, Minka Fitzpatrick. Now, are the Jets defense going to be motivated enough to even pick off an interception? And then if they do get an interception, will it be someone in the secondary or a lucky defensive lineman? You uh, that the Jets. Uh, I'm 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 just not sold on the Jets being a playoff team or even a 500 team. Uh, the Now I've been proven wrong before, so maybe the Jets has a chance of proving me wrong now.
Yeah, well, I agree with everything you just said. I don't believe the Jets are going to be a 500 team. Geno Smith, this is why I asked what version of Geno Smith the Jets are going to get, because I don't believe he's the answer at quarterback either. I believe he's a bridge guy. for the Jets to get to that franchise quarterback. Look, the NFL draft next year is going to be loaded with quarterbacks, and I think they just need a placeholder. I'm not a believer in Geno Smith. I don't think he's going to be very successful. But what the Jets did do was improve their roster, especially on defense. And if they can run the ball with a retooled offensive line and Brees Hall, I think they'll be better than last year. But I don't think they'll make the playoffs or be a 500 team.
Hey, can I add this one more quick point as far as the Jets?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to add this point. You know, as far as Geno Smith, none of y'all mentioned Garrett Wilson's name at all, and I just don't think Geno Smith can put the ball in Garrett Wilson's hands enough for him to have a 1,000-yard season like he surprisingly had in his rookie season when Aaron Rodgers got hurt and his 4 or 5 backup quarterbacks had to do the job for the Jets.
Can we think about when, real quick, you know, I know we talking AFC East. You think about Geno Smith when he had that breakout year in Seattle. Who was he throwing the ball to? One of the receivers he was throwing the ball to, they talk about as one of the top receivers in the NFL today, arguably. People gotta not forget what Geno Smith has done. And I agree with what you guys are saying. And I feel you on that post. NFL draft going to be heavy with the QBs. It's just my thinking is that defense that year in Seattle was very good when Geno played. They got the job done. They picked the ball off. And I think that catapulted Geno Smith to, you know, going out there, putting that work in as well. But a whole different team that you're thinking about Seattle, that line, that running back at the time as well. So when you come to New York, you know, you have not similarities, but you got a running back you could get a ball to. You have a weapon, like you mentioned, in Garrett Wilson. But for me, for Wilson, can you become that wide receiver you that they talk about at Ohio State? Or will LSU be the team that, you know, we hear about the wide receiver you that take it off this year with some of those LSU guys? So for me, I want to see Garrett Wilson get back to himself. I feel we all know how talented he is. We just want to see him get back to himself and having that quarterback change and going through those things. I think that can affect you as a wide receiver as well. We can't forget that. He's been through a lot of changes in his years at New York at that quarterback system. So at that quarterback helm situation. So for me, it's just I want to see him get him 1,000 yards. I think Geno Smith could do it. I think they could build on the future and get a quarterback, like you said, posting in his draft. I think Geno could last throughout the season so they could look at what they have coming in next season and go to that draft chart. What can Geno teach the possibilities of a quarterback that they're thinking about drafting coming in? Just some thoughts to think about. Anything else before we slide on over to this next Varda team? I know you itching, Post. Go ahead and talk your talk, man. Cook it up.
Yeah, I think, speaking of Garrett Wilson, let's talk about Garrett Wilson then. I think Garrett Wilson is the best receiver in this division.
Mm-hmm.
I know A.J. Brown is here. I know DJ Moore is now here with the Buffalo Bills. But if you look at his talent and his playmaking ability, still an extremely young player, I think Garrett Wilson is the best wide receiver in the AFC East.
I agree with that.
Ooh, man, that's some good talks. That's some good talks. Like, you know, why we talking about that? That's a question that I was going to have at the end of it, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it. You know, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, you know, you got Garrett Wilson. Man, that's some good talk. We're gonna come back to it, Post, because that's you making me go ahead and start talking about the Patriots, but we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Bills and talk about that DJ Moore addition. Talk about what's going on in Buffalo. Can they break this curse? You know, can they get them a AFC East crown? Can they get to this Super Bowl? Can they hold up a Lombardi? We've seen so many good, great Buffalo teams. We've seen so many runs out of this Buffalo team. Shout out to the 513. As a Bengals fan, I became close with the Bills, during up seasons with what happened to Hamlin. So, shout out to my cousin. That's a Buffalo Bills fan, my guy Weeble from WTP, and so many Bills fans across the world. A guy I met at Waffle House, him and his family. Shout out to him. Hopefully he's tuned in and watching as well. Um, it's a lot of questions to be answered with this Buffalo organization. Josh at the helm, head coach got fired, new faces as well as in new places. As we've been talking about in this AFC East. What's your thoughts thinking about this Bills team? You think about Josh Allen, you think about James Cook, you think of DJ Moore at the wide receiver position, you think about Khalil Shakir. I mean, this Buffalo team has been stacked to do what they do offensively, defensively. They've dealt with injuries. I'm gonna come to you first, John. What's your thoughts on this Buffalo Bills team? Can they take the crown away from the New England Patriots? Can the Patriots come in? Drake May keep his foot on that gas pedal, not in cruise control, but put a little turbo to the engine. What's your thoughts, man? Because Josh Allen may be in some trouble. Because Drake May is no joke, man. This Pats team is trying to do something special. Talk to me.
Hell no, the Bills ain't gonna win this division, man. Uh, uh, New England bearing injury from Drake May and attitude adjustment from AJ Brown. They're gonna win the division. Buffalo's gonna be a wild card. I do like Josh Allen, but Josh Allen, he's 30 now, and when a running quarterback turns 30, even Michael Vick had to learn it. You got to use your arm more than your legs. Now, yes, getting DJ Moore is a is a good pick, but the problem is, and this what hurts Buffalo when they play at home in the cold weather and the snow. Those type of games, especially the playoffs, where you do want to be old school and give your running back the ball 30 times, playing that Woody Hayes 3 yards and a cloud of dust running game. Now, I'm not saying Cook should carry the ball 30 times every single game because we know today's running backs can't do that. But in the playoffs, in the cold, and you know it's going to be snowing in Buffalo, uh, Cook's going to have to get 30 to 35 carries if they're going to get over the hump. And what really concerns me about the Bills, last year, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs gave the Bills the biggest gift, and they did not cash in. You supposed to have gotten over the hump when there's no Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? Are you kidding me? And keep in mind, the Bills, they're 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs under Josh Allen. They didn't have to face Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, and they still lost at home. The Bills, they're a playoff team, but hell, I don't even see them making it to the AFC Championship game.
For me, and I'm coming right at you with this one, Post. I just think about when you think of a Bills team, and like you said, getting that gift. You add Gardner Johnson, Geno Stone, Bradley Chubb, T.J. Parker, rookie, David Igbinosa, rookie. I think they had to get a feel for what's really going on right now. And then you add a DJ Moore on the offensive side. You load up on defense and you get a piece on offense. And my guy Keon Coleman, who's had a lot of questions, since being at Buffalo. And shout out to them Seminoles. Shout out to Keon Coleman. You still my guy. You know what I mean? I want to see you do diligence this year. Be diabolical out there. Be that guy that I know you are. But for me, it's really what is Buffalo going to do on that offensive side? We know, but what is this defense going to do? They spent a lot of money on that defense. Defense win championships. Offense sell tickets. I'm a Bengals fan. I love the defensive moves we made. If I'm a Buffalo fan, I'm loving these additions we made because we went out and got defense to compete. We get a DJ Moore. So Josh Allen, when the defense make things happen, can you lead us to that end zone? Can you put 3 points on the board? Getting us down there and trusting in that kicker. These are some of the things. What's your thoughts on this Buffalo team? Post down in East Rutherford. We know it get cold, and we know they be having the snowmobiles out. They got to hold the game back maybe a half hour to clear the stadium. But is this a do or die season for Buffalo when you think about the additions that they've made in the offseason as well?
Man, to be honest with you, Moss, I think heading into the last few seasons, I've heard the same exact thing. It's a do or die season for the Buffalo Bills. Every single year, this has to be the year Buffalo makes the Super Bowl. And Jam just said it. They had the most perfect opportunity to get there with no Patty Mahomes. Not only no Patty Mahomes, no Joe Burrow. Like, come on. This guy has to get it done. And I don't understand, like, he doesn't get enough criticism, in my opinion. That being
Mm,
Josh Allen. I think he
mm,
doesn't get enough criticism for not getting the job done. They used to kill guys like Peyton Manning for not getting it done. They need to have the same energy for Josh Allen. Now, I will say this. I like the moves. Even though they lost their coach, they promote their offensive coordinator who they're comfortable with. They'll run the same system. That's a good thing. Getting DJ Moore, that's a good thing. But
mm.
the addition at wide receiver that I really like, that nobody talks about, is getting Skylar Bell from Connecticut. I think that kid is the exact wide receiver that Josh Allen needs. I do think they need to be more physical and run the ball with their running backs a little more in the playoffs, as Jam just said. But
Yeah.
the Buffalo Bills is going to come down to that defense. Can that defense get off the field on third downs? That's a huge question because we know the Buffalo Bills has one heck of an offense. They're going to be able to score with anybody in the NFL. The question is can that defense make opportunistic stops, turnovers, get the ball back to that potent offense? I'm going to say this, fellas. Although I believe Josh Allen needs more criticism, I think the Bills are going to win the division this year. I think the
Yeah.
Patriots had a really I think the Patriots had a really soft schedule last year. That schedule gets tougher this year. How does the offseason drama affect that team, that locker room with their coach and the reporter, and things of that nature? So it's going to be an interesting year. But if I got to say right now, I think the Bills are going to win the division.
Man, it's a good one. And we got a ratty 243 coming into the chat. We getting right into the chat as we see all the comments coming in as well throughout the chat. And we appreciate those tuning in. And it's just a load of chats coming in. Raphael,
Uh,
a ratty. And we got 51. Is it Brandon? We got Brandon coming in as well. And Arati, he said Buffalo cannot break the curse. He said,
mm,
sadly, Allen runs too much and so brutally that he is on the Cam Newton track without the Super Bowl appearance. That's some interesting thoughts. And then we had Raphael. He said, I think losing the Super Bowl was the best thing for Drake May. Plus the hype around Caleb Williams. Massive chip on on his shoulder on him in his third year. That's scary. And, just thinking about that curse and thinking about that comment with Drake May, the comment about Cam Newton, I mean, those are definitely some valid points and some things to think about. And the next one coming from Raphael, he said Broncos and Pats rematch should be the favorite with both teams. I feel are underrated somehow. And then Raphael came in with another one. Bills and the 76 Bills are the 76ers of the NFL. Always their year and never the best player's fault. Interesting breakdown. Brandon, he said Josh Allen running the ball and one extended arm instead of protecting it may have cost him a Super Bowl appearance. Great point. Raphael, he said Patriots have a tougher schedule, but they got better too. As far as this distraction, they won with scandals going on for years. And we already know in New England, it ain't nothing new. What you want to say about them post game? Anything to say?
Yeah, here's the thing, right? There's one thing that happens with the loser of the Super Bowl. The loser of the Super Bowl normally has a down year the very next season. So I'm not doubting that the Patriots can overcome the distractions, because if you listen, and I said how would they, if any, how does those distractions play a part in that locker room? I never said it was going to. So, but that's a fact. The Super Bowl loser normally has a down year.
Yeah, and we're gonna get right to
Well,
it, man. We ain't gonna cut the chase. Go ahead, John. What you want to say? Go ahead.
well, you want to talk about a distract? Well, keep in mind, unlike Buffalo, who didn't take advantage of a gift that was given them by Patrick Mahomes, the Patriots last year did take advantage of a huge gift, playing the Denver Broncos at Denver without their all-pro quarterback Bo Nix, and went to the Super Bowl. And it was turnovers that cost the Patriots. Now, you want to talk about the distractions. We know New England can overcome distractions, but can the Buffalo Bills overcome the biggest distraction in NFL history? Opening on their home opener is a Monday night game against the Detroit Lions in their brand new stadium, and O.J. Simpson's name is not on the Ring of Honor. You want to talk about a distraction? I guarantee you the CNNs, the MSNBCs, the Fox, they all going to be at that game, and they going to have a bigger discussion about OJ's name not being in the Ring of Honor, yet he's still in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I might add. I'm just bringing up his football stats now. He was still an All-Pro. He was still a legend at Buffalo, and yes, in 9 seasons with the Bills, he only played in one playoff game. So you want to talk about a big distraction, and again, Buffalo, can they win when it counts? We know the Chiefs is going to be back this season, and we also know that if the Bills face the Chiefs, whether it's in their brand new home stadium or at Arrowhead, we know Patrick's going to pull that off. I don't see Josh Allen winning the big one. As you pointed out, JoJo, he couldn't beat Joe Burrow in the playoffs in his own house. I mean, so yeah, and speaking of Joe Burrow, JoJo, I want to throw this bonus in for you. If the Bengals does win a playoff game under Joe Burrow, he will have more playoff wins in franchise history than both Ken Anderson and Boomer Esiason combined.
Yes, sir. So get ready to pull your knowledge hat out a little more, because we looking for one of those seasons. As y'all see, man, y'all know me, Cincinnati Who They. Y'all see that, man. Y'all see Joey be up there spinning that thing, as Parlay said, Parlay Post with that Actons. That's that high school joint. I'm diehard Cincinnati over here. But yeah, man, it's for me going to be a great division. And we also have another comment coming from Raphael. He said way more faith in the Chiefs Then the Bills, winners find a way to win, and Mahomes is a winner. And there's going to be something coming off of that injury. That Chiefs team is going to be one to watch for me this year. I'm definitely going to be watching them. I always like watching what they do. They find a way, and when you got Andy Reid running and things as that head coach, man, you just don't know the capabilities of your franchise, and he could definitely take them to feats as we've seen what he's done in the Mahomes era. So for me, next up, as we sitting here embarking on a quarter till 9 o'clock, getting close to it here shortly, we talking these New England Patriots. We talking Drake May. We talking that AFC championship and the AFC East side. We talking about Super Bowl appearance. Drake May. I seen him in the ACC for many years. And that third year at North Carolina was the year that people said, "Oh, who's this kid over here at North Carolina?" That's Drake May. That boy could do what he do. And just watching him be successful in the NFL, we spoke on it last year. I talked about Mitchell Trubisky, former Carolina quarterback as well, but Drake May was a different type of kid. I think you talking about ahead of his time and the IQ, what he brings to the table. He's a winner. He could throw the deep ball. He could spin that thing. We seen what he brought to the table at North Carolina. He brings a franchise back to a crown and leads them to the Super Bowl, feats that you haven't seen in years since the GOAT, as some call him, arguably in this day and era. But what's your thoughts when you think about these New England Patriots? You think about the addition of AJ Brown. You think of Romeo. Where art thou, Romeo? He wasn't in Green Bay giving love to Love Jordan, that is, catching balls, but he stayed a little injured. Can he have another person I'm thinking of rebirth here in New England this season, linking up with AJ Brown? And can he possibly bring another AFC East crown to New England, to Boston? That area could be a little lit, as they call it. But for me, this conference is up for grabs. I'm not going to say anyone could win this division just yet. I think it'll become clear as the season progresses. But this is, to me, right now, one of the interesting divisions as we talk about it. Because when is the last time we seen a team appear in the Super Bowl, win that division, but the following season, the division is up for grabs with so many transactions that's happening? I'm going to come to you first, Post. I know we went to jam on the last one. I'm going to come to you first, talking to these New England Patriots. There's been a lot of things that's happened with this offensive side of the ball. And as Raphael said, yeah, Keyshawn Butte is as a number 3 receiver coming across the middle, things like that. What's your thoughts on this New England Patriots team?
Well, yeah, you said it all, Moss. The key additions at the wide receiver position, I think getting AJ Brown and Romeo Dobbs from Green Bay is going to do nothing but wonders for young Drake May. Drake May had an outstanding year last year, and I really didn't like his receiving threats. But now, again, you add AJ Brown and Romeo Dobbs. The interesting thing for the New England Patriots is that running game, because I love that 1-2 punch. When you think about Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson, I think they should feed. I like both running backs, but I think they should feature Trayvon a little bit more. He really went bonkers last year when Ramondre was out. But they got Hunter Henry at tight end, which I like. But I think a sleeper pick in the draft was them getting Eli Raridon, a big tight end from Notre Dame. I think he's going to be really good in the NFL. Now that defense, I like their defense. Of course, they got a defensive coach, but can their pass rushers get healthy? Because now I'm looking Harold Landry and Big Gabe, who they drafted this year, on a pup list. So we'll see how their health is and monitor their health as training camps begin to start. But I think the New England Patriots, they're going to be a great team. Wouldn't be surprised if they made the playoffs. I do have Buffalo winning the division, but I want to see, the if they have a Super Bowl hangover. If the harder schedule knocks them down a peg, Those are the keys for the New England Patriots, in my opinion.
Nice points. I like those points and thinking about that hangover. Like you said, I think, you think about that as we gonna come over to you, Jim, that hangover is getting there, winning that division was so much of a battle, and then climbing uphill, and then coming back and running it back to win that division. That's going to be an uphill battle itself, I think, this season. And I think you make a great point. And, I'm looking at the key additions, you know, on the side that Buffalo went and got a nasty defensive side of the ball in that secondary to go against some of the issues they had when it come to that. So, I love your point. Feeling Buffalo could win this division like me. I just really want to see what this division does as a whole. I do like that Buffalo pick. It's going to be a lot of criticism for me when it comes to Josh Allen this season. So Buffalo fans, beware. MossBurgh will hit you with the blitz about this Josh Allen situation. If things don't fare out right, it's going to be time to pack your bags and go and possibly be somewhere for another team. It's a lot of quarterbacks in the years to come, but I do like Josh Allen. No disrespect, y'all know how MossBurgh is, but we coming straight at you. The Almanac, Jimmy Jam, what's your thoughts on this New England Patriots team? Can they repeat? Can Drake May lead them to the promised land? And I'm going to say a few things on that boy out of Notre Dame, out of South Bend, because I like him and I seen him up close. What's your thoughts, Jam?
I believe Drake May will bounce back. He is in a no excuse situation. He did make it to the Super Bowl without AJ Brown. AJ Brown brings a Super Bowl ring to the franchise. Travion Henderson, he was great in spurts. I would like to see him get more touches if it means 20 carries and catch 10 more screen passes out in the backfield. He's definitely proven as a Patriot to be a home run threat. So that's cool. And I don't see the Patriots suffering a hangover, and here's why. The coach, Mike Vrabel, he was once a Patriot. He won Super Bowls with Tom Brady. So he has the experience to, let his players know that we got to do this same old stuff all over again. I think their defense is solid. The only question I have for the Patriots, can they beat the Bills in Foxborough? Other than that, I don't see any problem with the Patriots, although they do have a rematch later on in the season against Denver. Of course, Bo Nix, he'll be ready by then. We'll see, and again, I think they will make the distraction, because trust and believe, Mike Vrabel almost made history, so he's going to be very motivated in making NFL history as the first man in NFL history to win a Super Bowl as both a player and a head coach for the exact same franchise.
Man, I like that. And when you think about this defense, as Raphael made a good point in speaking on that development and how Bayard is mentoring, and they do have a great secondary. I think that's, one of the reasons Buffalo had to go get the type of secondary that they had. And when you speaking on Marcus Jones, you're talking about a player that's got one offensively, defensively, and on special teams last season. Only the fourth player in the history of NFL to do that in a season. So I think that's special to have in your secondary. And when you say being effective in your position, I think that's called a problem. in your position because you could affect the game in so many ways. Defensive and special teams are key points in a game. When you're a coach, you draw those up on the board to try to make the best fit and the best schemes at those times on the defensive side and the special team side of the ball. So I think those are key factors as well, making a good point. For me, you guys speak on Travion Henderson, man. I think when we talked about his draft status, projected him in our mock draft, we had him high. We had him as a sleeper draft pick. We had him as one of those running backs that could do work when he got with his organization in that preseason. We seen him making waves, and through the season, I felt that he would be a big part of New England's success as we seen. And I think this year he has to be featured a little more. I like the split back that they have going. I think that's something special, especially at the running back position for them both to touch the ball. So a little more of that this year. I think that explosiveness. And like you said, Post, your guy Eli, straight out of South Bend, straight out of Notre Dame, where your boys is at, man, them Golden Domes. When and Jam could agree with me, Post, you could agree with me, so many people across the world. When you see people up close and you see them play, you could see them at the next level. You could see them doing different things in the years to come. When I seen this kid Post last season in South Bend against North Carolina State Wolfpack, that play when he looked at the QB and he made that signal. He looked at him and they made a call and he went across the middle, catching he caught one on the sideline, streaking up the middle. I think this is a special talent that Drake May has. I think he found his bread and butter. And Eli, you talking about a kid I think that has watched Travis Kelce film. He's watched film on every Hall of Fame tight end, and he's going to put it to use with this New England Patriots offense and so much more in the years to come for Drake May. And I think if he has a big season, this New England team wins the division and could possibly battle Cincinnati Joe Burrow for the AFC East, AFC champion overall. That's just my thought because, I'm not putting nobody past my Bengals, but I think this team is going to definitely do some things, but it's more what can a pieces added do this year to a team that made their way to the Super Bowl? Can they push them to the upper echelon? And we have more comments coming in. We have City League TV in the building. What's going on with you, Unc? We appreciate you tuning in. And make sure y'all go follow at City League TV. That's another one of our guys. That's T1 City League TV. Ask somebody else, man of many hats. We got week 1, high school football, Friday night coming up. That's going to be that Walnut Ridge at Columbus East High School. But we back with the AFC East talk. I didn't mean to get off track, but I had to let you know about that. And Raphael, we appreciate you tuning in wholeheartedly throughout the stream this evening. And if Raritan can block, he's going to be a problem. Yes, sir. And I think, that's something that people, if they watch postgame, if they go watch Notre Dame's film and watch when Jeremiah Love cuts back and cuts across field, you see a lot of pancakes from ER, and he's sending them straight to the emergency room. And I'm going to say Eli is a rare. That's all I'm going to say. Eli Rare, ER. He going to have many nicknames from your boy MossBurgh this season, and I'm going to try to remember them and write them down. Any more thoughts on this New England Patriots team? As we talk, any team or any thoughts on this AFC East in a whole?
Yeah, I just want to say, my bad. I just want to say that Christian Gonzalez at the cornerback position is definitely one of the best corners in the NFL. I love that kid's game coming out of Oregon. And Eli Raritan is from Notre Dame, bro. You gotta block if you a tight end at Notre Dame. So I don't think Raritan's gonna have a problem blocking. I think he was a steal for y'all in the draft for where y'all got him. But the New England Patriots is definitely a team I'm going to have my eyes on because I agree with Jam. I believe if Bo Nix was healthy, New England doesn't reach the NFL championship game. But I still think they're going to be really good this season. And again, I'm going to be interested to see how that team responds to the offseason drama and them losing the Super Bowl.
I agree. Go ahead, John.
Well, I'm not worried about the Patriots being the distracted. They survived. They survived the Flake Gate. They survived Brady's. Brady was suspended the first 4 games of the season, and they still won. So Vrabel, he's used to that, and he's going to have the Patriots ready. And I personally think the Patriots will win the division, and they do have a really excellent chance of getting back to the Super Bowl.
Ooh. I like that. You feel New England is not just going to go back to back, but you feel they have a chance to repeat and show back up into the Super Bowl. Being LA, that means Drake May been getting this party on these first few years in the NFL. And you know, when you think about Drake May, I've watched him over the years being an ACC quarterback. And, you know, for me, I think it's a special thing to watch him, you know, and I think about Joe Burrow. A lot of people gonna say, MossBurgh, what you talking about? Think of a kid, and when you watch certain players, I've watched Joe Burrow grow from being that spring ball touchdown thrower with no interceptions at Ohio State to a champion at LSU to the top quarterback in the NFL through his injuries. Drake May, I watched him not get talked about his first few years at North Carolina to getting more draft buzz than any quarterback in that draft class that year to come out and be in the Super Bowl and do what he's doing for this franchise. I think it's something special. And you think about the AFC East. I mean, the AFC overall as an AFC in whole in the conference. He's mentioned among the elites. When you think about Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, he's in that next tier of those quarterbacks. You think about Bo Nix, Drake May. You think of these guys now. If Bo Nix didn't go up a tier, but with that injury, I think some things, you know, people are pushing down the tier. But I think New England as a whole, when they have a quarterback at the helm, the franchise could be different. And I think they found their franchise quarterback. They found franchise receivers to be throughout this quarterback's tenure, while he's there. They got the running back room to fulfill his needs. And they're building a defense, as we already see what they have. So just thinking about this New England Patriots team, can they be in the midst of building back something that we seen at a status that couldn't be matched throughout the Flakegate era, throughout those eras that we know New England was blamed for all these things. But we're seeing it in Drake May in a different time and in a different place and era in football. I kind of like it, what he's doing, but this conference is wide open. Anything else that anybody want to say?
Yeah, listen, when we talk about team distractions, right? I keep hearing the Patriots have been through this before. Is Bill Belichick still the coach for New England?
Nah.
Or is this not a younger team?
Yeah, it is a younger team, but to add to your point, as far as Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel played for Bill Belichick during those distractions. That's why I believe the Patriots can handle it, because the coach Mike Vrabel, he's already been through it. If anyone that can make that adjustment as far as being a distraction would be the New England Patriots.
Now see, here's the thing. It's not a guarantee. I'm not saying it's a guarantee that those situations will be distractions. But I think, yeah, he been through that with Bill Belichick, right? But he's the head coach now, and he's not Bill Belichick. I think that's a huge. He has to show and prove when you talk about that.
Okay,
Because he has to do it. He has to do it as a coach.
Now, I'm not disputing that at all, but here's why they're going to beat this distraction. I guarantee you, the Patriots won't have the biggest distraction. The team in the NFL that's going to have the biggest distraction are the Buffalo Bills. Bills. How many times the players is going to be asked OJ questions and his name not being on the Ring of Honor? I guarantee you that's going to be a way bigger distraction than any Patriot scandal.
I like that. And for me, it's more so thinking about it when you think of the franchise and just hearing when Jam mentioned it, I think it's something that people's going to mention at times. But like you said, I think that era is over. I see what you mean, Jam, saying that, Vrabel played in that time. But I think, for me, seeing them this good and not being as good over the years, I think that's where I think people start to mention and talk about the Patriots, especially if they start off and keep that same success as we'll see in week one.
Yeah.
That Super Bowl rematch with those Seahawks. And there'll be a lot of questions answered. And you know how that first game goes for some teams that's played in the Super Bowl the season before, that season after. Like you said, is it a hangover? Can they bounce back? Can they be back to back in the AFC East? Can, Seattle be this team that does something special in the NFC? It's a lot of things that's happened, I think, in the NFL when you think about the transactions, the draft, and a whole. I think teams have gotten better overall. I think players just have to find a place, with that team and what they do best to where you can see the best of everyone. Not just one player. One player is always going to stand out, but when you see in that team chemistry, that's something that I think about. Go ahead, Post.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that the Bills, and I don't want to keep harping on this. I'll say this and move on. I'm not doubting that the Bills will have a bigger distraction than the Patriots, because that can very well be true. The question is, how do they handle their own distraction? Because their distraction has nothing to do with the Bills. The Bills' distraction has nothing to do with the Patriots. It's all about how that locker room handles that adversity. And that's my only point. But here's the thing. The Patriots start off at Seattle, home for Pittsburgh, at Jacksonville, at Buffalo. I can see them being 1-3 or 2-2 to start the season.
Yeah. It's a tough road ahead, man. It's definitely a tough road ahead for them. And I think, when I'm gonna step back into it. Why not talk about it, Post? We here for all the smoke, all the comments, man. Like you said, that's great things to talk about when you think about that Buffalo's distraction. You think about distractions on, how people gonna look at it. It's nothing wrong with that. I think, it adds more to it. Has Josh Allen, begin to decline? Is Drake May on the way up?
Well, I want to piggyback on the Patriots' schedule. I don't see them being 1-3. In fact, I definitely see them beating Seattle at Seattle on opening day. Who in the hell gets rid of their Super Bowl MVP? I get it. They gave Jackson Smith and Jigma, more money as he truly deserves. But I truly believe the Patriots is going to be more hungrier. And at Pittsburgh with a 40-something Aaron Rodgers, his old coach Mike McCarthy's not going to be under pressure to be above 500 and not have a losing season. They'll be in more relaxed mode. So I'm not worried about the Patriots and the Steelers. I think they win this thing with full steam.
I'm gonna hit a few questions. And Post was talking about it earlier. Raphael commented in on this one, and he went along with Post like that receiver. But that's the next question. Who is the top players to make an impact in a new uniform in this AFC East. Just something to think about because it's been a lot of moves made, and I think there's going to be some players in these new uniforms that make an impact in this division that have that team standing out, and you seeing good, possibly great things out of that team as well. Because it's a battle in this division, I think, this year as well.
Well, that's an easy one. It's AJ Brown hands down. He's a four-time Pro Bowl bowler. 5 out of 6 years, he's 1,000 yard receiver. He's already a Super Bowl champion, and add this to the mix. He's reunited with Mike Vrabel, who was his coach at Tennessee. I mean, this is a no-brainer here. I mean, and no disrespect to the other players that's going to be in a new uniform, and I guarantee you, AJ Brown's going to be a way bigger impact in a Patriots uniform than Geno Smith will in the Jets uniform.
What's your thoughts on that post? Raphael, he said Kevin Byard can take the defense from good to elite. He definitely is right about that, man. He definitely is making a great point. What's your thought, Post? I'm a defensive guy in the secondary, and I'm keyed in on that as well. What's your thoughts on this, Post?
Well, 100% AJ Brown would be a better addition than Geno Smith. I think if you're just looking at it right now, I think you got to say AJ Brown. You talk about a young Drake May getting the #1 alpha wide receiver who's been disgruntled, unhappy in Philadelphia because of the style of play. Now he goes to New England where their style of offense fits his style of play more. And he's an alpha #1 receiver, 100% on that. But I think New England is going to be a really good team. But I think the additions that the Jets made on defense is going to improve that defense. No doubt about it, A.J. Brown is the biggest addition. You can make an argument for DJ Moore. But the defenders that the Jets got in the offseason, DeMario Davis, Pons from IU, and guys like that, the safety, Moss, you speak, Minka Fitzpatrick. I think that defense is going to take a step. Are they going to be elite? I highly doubt it. But I like the pieces New England was able to get, and I think their defense goes from terrible to okay.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's crazy because I respect his comment when he say Kevin Byard can take the defense from good to elite. I totally agree with you too. For me, I think hands down, everybody feel AJ Brown is the top newcomer to this East. But me, man, being a guy that played in the secondary growing up, I didn't get a chance to play football for anything high school or anything. I played rec ball a lot, but I was a basketball player. So I was a DB, safety, corner. I like this Minka Fitzpatrick move, man. I don't know what it is about this move, but I like this Minka Fitzpatrick move. The reason I like that move is because you're talking about a player that created a name over in the Steel City, who got shipped off, big money involved, and then he shipped off again within the same division. I think he comes out with a chip on his shoulder this season. I think Minka comes out Fitzpatricking, and they like, what is that? You gonna see Minka this year doing Minka things, and it's gonna be back to himself. So I like the addition of Minkus. I like the addition of Kevin Byard as well. I think these are, two additions when you think of New England. Brown on the offense, Byard on the defense. You dealing with a recipe of not disaster, but a recipe to stir up that pot and get back to that Super Bowl. You go get the top players in those positions you feel to bring your organization to something different. So I like the Minka, I like the Brown, I like the Byard, but I like the Minka overall. Since you guys chose that Brown on the offensive side, I went with Minka on the defensive side of the ball. And I think this AFC East is going to be something special. And that brings me to my next question, just this last one. We've been talking about quite a few, but this is the last one before we get out of here. The best wide receiver in the AFC East. East, and we thinking about additions. We gonna talk about the quarterback and wide receiver. Best quarterback, best wide receiver, and I'm gonna ask why. Give me a reason, Jam. Starting with you, best quarterback, best wide receiver, AFC East.
Well, definitely Drake May and AJ Brown. Uh, uh, Drake May has proven to be a an elite quarterback. He's already been to the Super Bowl. He hasn't gotten over the hump, and yet he's going to be throwing passes uh, to AJ Brown, who I think is going to be wide open a lot more than he was as a Philadelphia Eagle. He's definitely going to step up to the plate, and if Travion Henderson can be healthy and get 20 carries, I think the Patriots going to be lights out. But I think the best quarterback and wide receiver in in the division is Drake May and AJ Brown. And no disrespect to my fellow Buckeye alum Garrett Wilson, because Garrett Wilson he's a straight flat out beast. He just needs a quarterback.
Oh man. Wide receiver. Well, let's start at quarterback, man. I love Drake May. I think that kid is a stud, and he damn near won the MVP if it wasn't for Matthew Stafford last year. But again, as Jam mentioned earlier, Bo Nick's healthy, Patriots don't get to the Super Bowl. I think that's the only reason they got to the Super Bowl. So I can't disrespect Josh Allen and the work he's put in. I think that his ability to run, his ability to throw the ball, he's not just a runner. He can launch that thing as well as anybody. Might have the strongest cannon in the NFL, but I can't disrespect Josh Allen like that. I think Josh Allen is the best quarterback by far in the AFC East. Love Drake May. I think he's only getting started. He's going to be in the NFL balling for years to come. But as of right now, as of today, I got to say Josh Allen. Wide receiver, A.J. Brown. I had no problem with A.J. Brown, but I just think it's Garrett Wilson. If you put Garrett Wilson with any of these quarterbacks, I think he has a tremendous season. And he was on his way to a tremendous season. And then Aaron Rodgers pulls a power move and they get Devontae Adams in New England or I'm sorry, to the Jets and ruins that season for my guy. So I think that the best wide receiver in the AFC East is Garrett Wilson. He just needs a quarterback.
Man, that's some power, and that's some great talks. I like that, and I'm agreeing. Even with the AJ Brown reunion, the reason I say this, you made valid points, because for me, if you think about Garrett Wilson, his season went in a totally different way once things happened. So for me, it was he looking at it, man, this is a business. Who knows what's going to happen in the off season? But he's still been doing what he do year in, year out. And you made a great point as well. If he's with any other quarterback, he probably hit heights that we don't see in this conference as a receiver. And this is speaking with coming in this conference now, record-setting wide receiver over in Philly 4 straight years, 1,000 yards plus. I think it's a great addition, but I think Garrett Wilson is still the man. I think he brings some attention. These secondary, these DBs over in this AFC East is definitely going to want to get after it. We know what they bring to the table. They definitely got some DB. So I think for me, definitely Josh Allen as well. I've been liking Josh Allen since he came in. But with that question, seeing Drake May, we know how good Drake May is going to be. He's, to me, right now, the second best quarterback in this division. I mean, we know what he's going to be doing. If Josh Allen wasn't to be in this division right now, he'd be the top quarterback. But who knows what other quarterback would be here? But that's just my thoughts on that. I like Garrett Wilson. I like Josh Allen, but Drake May is definitely a stud, no muffin. But he definitely eats them in his offseason to add a little muscle when he need them carbs and things like that. But outside of that, man, I think it's just a special thing when you think about this AFC East, when you think about New England getting them AFC East championship, making it to the Super Bowl. Drake may put in that work. Bo Nix, great point. I think everyone seen what this Denver team was doing. Me as a Bengals fan, playing them earlier in the season, seeing how great of a team they became throughout the season was something special. Um, what else can I say about this AFC East, man? We ready for week one, Super Bowl rematch. Then you got the Bills and the Texans. I mean, you got so many things going on in that first week out of that conference. You got the Jets at Tennessee, and then you got the Dolphins trying to come off of a off season. I don't know if we call it a debacle, trying to figure things out. Um, I honestly don't know, but they made a boatload of moves to bring players in, and I'm definitely excited to see what they do to start the season this year, as we'll see so many more teams as well throughout this NFL season. But this year, this AFC East is going to be a wild one to watch, but an interesting one as well. Go ahead, John. What you got to talk to us about? What you got to say?
No, man, you definitely made some excellent points. I'm done with my thoughts on the AFC East. I'm saying only the Patriots and the Bills going to be in the playoffs. The Patriots will win the division. Bills be a wild card team.
Oh, hold on. Let me get that down. You said Patriots gonna win the division. Let me mark this down because they got on FanDuel. Shout out to FanDuel for they odds and ends. They got the Bills minus 125. They got the Pats plus 125. They got the Jets plus 2,000 and the Dolphins plus 3,000. What's your thoughts on this division, Post? You got the Bills winning. You said the Pats second. What's your thoughts?
Man, I think it's two teams who are contenders in this division. I think it's the Patriots. I think it's the Bills. I slightly favor the Bills over the Patriots this year, man. I just think, with Josh Allen getting him those weapons, they don't even know about Skylar Bell yet. DJ Moore. I think Dalton Kincaid is healthy this season. I think he's going to eat up a lot of targets and demand a lot of attention on that offense. So the key for the Bills is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. The
Mhm.
Patriots, young team. I want to see them. They have a rough schedule to begin, I believe. So I think they'll be right in the thick of things, but I don't think they'll be as good as last year.
Got you.
The
Man.
the Jets and the Dolphins are toast.
Man. Toast, man. And it ain't even gonna be crispy. It's gonna be that raisin toast with the apple butter because of the veteran leaderships and the respective championships they won. They're gonna at least put them in a classy type of toast,
Yeah.
but they getting that ciabatta bread, that baguette when it come to New England and Buffalo. They getting a whole loaf, sourdough, all those good things, man. So I think it's just gonna be a special season. I'm gonna go ahead, man. This is damn making these picks be tough. I'm gonna go with Buffalo. I'm going with Buffalo. I like the DJ Moore signing. I'm a big Keon Coleman fan as well. Big James Cook fan and a Josh Allen fan. I'm a fan of quite a few players in this NFL, but I think they could propel them to some key things and bringing over Geno Stone, some of those guys in that secondary as well. I think this is a year that if Buffalo don't win this division, you might see the decline of Josh Allen earlier than what people think. I'm gonna make note of that because it's just something to think about. As great as he is, the years that they've had to win, and you made a good point, Jim. Mahomes, Burrow, it was like a field goal. All you had to do is throw the ball through. You ain't even had to kick it. So these are some things to think about in the future. You know, people say what they want about Joe Burrow. I think you made a key point, Post. Why not talk Josh Allen, put him under some fire? Because it's only right that we talk about it. Every other quarterback is scrutinized about things that they do. No disrespect, but we got to talk about it. You know, so
Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think Keon Coleman, if he doesn't produce this year, do you think it's over for him?
Yeah, I definitely think it's over for Keon Coleman. I mean, I, I, I'm not sold on the Bills, and I get it, you know. But even if the Bills win the division, they would lose whether at home or at Paycor to Joe Burrow. Even if they win the division, they going to lose whether at home or at Arrowhead against Patrick Mahomes. I definitely don't see the Bills getting over the hump, and I'll see Keon Coleman either traded to another team or he'll retire early from the league.
I want to see my man Keon Coleman bounce back. I definitely know the talent he possessed within his skill set amongst him being a football player. I honestly don't know what's going on. Sometimes we don't know what's going on. I hope and I want and I'm pushing for him to have a breakout season because I think when he's playing good, this Buffalo offense could get going to another level. When you think of DJ Moore, you think of Khalil Shakir, you think of Keon Coleman, and like you said, having Dalton Kincaid healthy, I think this Buffalo offense can, you know, have a shootout with the best of them, as we've seen Allen and Burrow have shootouts. But of course, you know, that guy up there getting that dub. So, you know, for me, I think it'll be something special to see. That's a great question as well. But if he don't have a good season, that's going to be something to see because we've seen great wide receiver seasons and careers in early due to some of the similar things, not performing, not being there and you know, having high expectations and not fulfilling them. And it'll be a sad thing to see that. And I know how great of a player he could be.
Well, I'm going to have to leave, fellas, because I'm down to 7%.
All right, man. We appreciate you joining this evening, Jim, because we about to get up out of here ourselves in the next few seconds myself, man. If you want to say, you said you on 7%.
Yeah. And,
you know, I can get you out of here.
I just want to say,
less than that.
I just want to say thank you for having me on. I'm very humble, and you know, I will be back on your show real soon.
Appreciate it, man. Always a pleasure, man. Shout out to you, man. And it's that 2-year anniversary, man. So it was only right that I hit you up, man, for you to join. And without you, the 614 Ben wouldn't be what else would it would be without you as well. So I appreciate you joining in the times you have.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome,
Salute,
man.
Jam. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Same here.
We got Timmy in the building at WTP Sports Dudes. He said Dolphins finished second behind the Patriots. Oh, is he seeing the Quinn Ewers?
Bro, you know he is trolling, man. Come on.
You know, I like it because he gonna have me put it down on a pad, and you know I keep the pad handy. You know I keep it handy. So if you trolling, but I'm definitely putting that down. And we got at Tim A 18188. Appreciate you joining and tuning in with us. WTP Sports family. WTP Sports and WTP Sports family, stay consistent and healthy. Yes, sir. We appreciate you always tuning in. And he said Keon Coleman is going to get cut if he doesn't perform as well. Raphael, he said Gonzo, PS2, Stingley going to need other receivers to step outside of DJ Moore because he might be in prison. He said Buffalo Bills are not winning a division. Put some respect on the Patriots game. Wow. WTP Sports, I'm surprising you guys. Nah,
hey,
the reason
I'm
Go
trying
ahead.
to tell y'all, we gonna circle back on this on the season. That Super Bowl hangover for the loser is real. Y'all gonna
Yeah.
see.
And that's like I'm telling you, I think the reason, like I said, you think of the additions. I'm not negating none of the additions that's been made on the part of any team, especially the Patriots and some of the moves they made. But when you get CJ Gardner Johnson and Geno Stone at the safety position, you know, I think CJ Gardner is a player that's misunderstood and like like Raphael said about Bayard making the defense from taking the defense from good to elite. He could do the same thing for this Buffalo team. And we know when Buffalo had that safety, what they did. Now they get two of them. I don't know. I don't know. It's definitely going to be something to look back at. I like this Bills team winning the division, but it's going to be interesting as well because of the moves that's been made overall. I think Bradley Chubb can finally get after that quarterback, put some pressure, which we haven't really seen from the Bills as well in a few years. So I think, like you said, it's just going to be an interesting division overall, and we definitely going to be tuned in and looking forward to everything that goes on. Then he said the Miami Dolphins fan, what is delusional, but I'm not surprised. That's he he a Tennessee Titans fan, but he's just picking. We were tripping. We think he trolling us on that pick. We think he's straight trolling us on that pick. Anything else you got to tell the people or talk to the people out before we get out of here? Post.
Man, yeah, just appreciate y'all. Appreciate that support y'all been giving us, man. We see it. We growing tremendously. Make sure y'all hit that like button on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to all our channels. We all come together as the WTP Sports, but we all have our individual channels and we all work on side projects, not just the live stream. So come check out all of our channels. Be here tomorrow night, same time, same place, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna break down the AFC West.
As y'all heard, Post said, man, y'all know what we do, man. We really appreciate your support, man. From the bottom to the top of our hearts, man. It gives us chills, when we see the comments coming in. All of those great things. Y'all more than welcome to feel free to drop the super chats in anytime that y'all see us on live. It's only going to benefit the things coming. And as Unc said, he's trolling. Post called it first, and he knows. Unc, you better text us with that AFC East 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you picking the Pats too to repeat, and you're gonna have them Bills seconds, but we don't know. Man, we appreciate you, Raphael, tuning in with us this evening, man. We appreciate everybody that tuned in with your boys, MossBurgh and PostGame of PostGame Sports, man. But you know me, Post, man. I can't get enough, man, of when you tune in and when you always here, man. I apologize for not being there for you, and I got to do a better job of that. I'm calling myself out on it, and I got to do what I need to do to be here as much as you hear from me. My bad. Make sure you do go watch some of that Eli, man. He definitely a problem. And that Gabe Jackus, we did have him down on a paper, and he's going to be a problem in that linebacker position as well. Appreciate you, Tim A, for that one as well. But like we said, man, we got things to do. I know I got to be up early. Appreciate you, T1 City League TV. I know I got to be up early at the crack of design. I got to serve the people tomorrow, man. So if you up and you out in the Columbus, Ohio streets, man, Waffle House, man. I know y'all love eating it. Before the kids go back to school, come out, man. Sit down. Let your boy Moss B take care of you in my section, man, and do what I do best and give you that time away from home. That's always wanted when you do go out to eat. Anything else you got to tell the people, Post, about the rest of the week, what you're doing tomorrow, or you want to just keep them on the buzz if they've been paying attention? They should know. But anything you want to tell them?
Yeah, shout out to the homie Raphael in the chat, man. I know you a Patriots fan because I can feel it. I'm a Colts fan. And shout out to Time, man. We really appreciate you, man. You've been studying up in the chat like always. So appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Make sure y'all tune in. Like Post said, man, tomorrow night, 7:45, we're going to be here, man. We're going to be in the building. We got more AFC talk, but we taking it from the East Coast. And we going to the West Coast. not the Midwest, but the West Coast. And we talking that AFC at West. And we're going to give you our thoughts about that. And that's going to be hosted by y'all's main man as well as my main man on that South Bend end, post-game sports, man. We appreciate everybody's support. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Raphael, we can't to see you back in here. And hopefully you can send a shout out to the WTPsports.com, WTPsportsdudes.com website. Send that shout out to us so we could try to, check you out, get you on screen with us, and we could talk some of that New England Patriots as well this season when we on talking our NFL Sundays and our recaps throughout the season as well. But other than that, man, this is your boy MossBurgh, Level Up Sports 10. As T1 would say of City League TV, we was in the building. Now we out. Peace.